مرحبا. اليوم عندنا حرف عين. عين. اسم الحرف عين. 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 Ain in transliteration is usually written as the number 3 because you can probably hear that this letter does not have an equivalent بالإنجليزي. So we usually write it with a 3 and then the rest of the word as normal. تمام. صوت الحرف. So this letter obviously does not exist in English, so we'll write that. The sound is a sound that comes from a constriction in your throat muscles. This is a letter that it's going to take you a lot of practice to learn how to pronounce correctly, and you just have to be patient with yourself as you practice. It doesn't come right away to most of us, so you'll practice and build your muscle memory and help your muscles practice forming the shapes they need to form to make this sound. So be patient with yourself and practice it out loud as much as you can, as goofy as it might sound. So it's a constriction in your throat. If you pronounce it, so we'll write that first. If you pronounce this letter with an alif after it, it sounds like ah. If you pronounce it with a fatha after it, it sounds like ah. And with each short vowel, it sounds a little different. So I want to go through quickly and pronounce each one. I'm just going to use the lines that we write the shapes on for a moment to write the letter with the different vowels to practice. So we'll erase this. You don't need to write this down in your notes. I'm just writing this down to help you see how the sounds change with each of the vowels بالعربي. So again, don't write this down in your notes. It's just for us to talk through quickly in the video. تمام. As I said, عين وألف ع. عين وفتحة ع. عين وواو عو. عين وضمة عو. عين ويا عي. عين وكسرة ع. So you can hear that it sounds pretty different depending on which vowel, short or long, is after the letter. So again, practice. We'll do lots of listening practice and lots of read aloud practice with this letter, so you'll have lots of time to practice it. But just be patient with yourself as you're learning because it will take some time. تمام. العين social ومش جني. A lot of students expect this to be a jinni letter, but this is not a jinni letter. Jinni doesn't just mean a letter that sound doesn't exist in English. It's something else that we'll learn very soon, actually. Okay, let's go through the shapes and then we'll come back to شكل الحرف. ففي البداية, you can see it here, although it's a little messy in the way I wrote the name, so we'll try and fix that as we do it here. ففي البداية كذا وكذا. So it's the tail here is to connect to another letter, لأنه social. And it should sit right on the line. It shouldn't go below the line. And you can see here in the proportions, it's about the same height as any letter with the shape of ba, ta, tha, ya. You can see here the same height as noon as well. So proportions wise, that's what you should aim for. تمام. في النص, watch this carefully and practice. Remember to follow along the exact direction that I'm writing it in. So we start on the line coming from a social letter before it. We go up at an angle. وكذا. Okay? So the important thing here is that it's not a circle, right? Because we can mix, if we make it as a circle, it can get mixed up with other letters. So notice how there's a point on one side and then it's curved on the other. This is the most common way to do it, but you'll also see some handwriting that looks more like that, where both sides are angled. That's okay to do as well. وأيضا ممكن, some people like to color in. This doesn't work very well on a tablet, but some people like to color in the middle. I don't like to do this because it just takes longer to write that way. But in typing especially, sometimes you'll see that Ain looks like it's colored in the middle. And there are some people whose handwriting style is like that too. So it is possible to do that if you like that, or if you already learned it that way, of course. But most I would recommend either this shape or this shape. وفي النهاية أيضا بعد social, after a social letter, we come over from the other letter. Same shape as we just did في النص, but then we curl around below the line. Okay, so notice that this is way below the line, not just a little bit. Okay, like that. كذا. تمام. So, and you can do the same thing. Notice that these ones are a little more curved on the right, this one's a little more angular. And if you're coloring it in, you would also color it in here as well. تمام. لوحده, it is partly above the line and partly below. So it's like في البداية at the top, and then it goes below the line. مثل في النهاية. And typically the bottom loop is a little bit bigger than the top. تمام? Okay, شكل الحرف. This one is hard to come up with a mnemonic for because the sound doesn't exist in English. So what I've seen students do before, I'm not enough of an artist to do this, but students will turn this into a face, like the eye would be up here on the ayn, and this would be an open mouth. And it's someone yelling, ah, like the sound of an ayn with an alif after it. So if you wanted to go like that and go, remember the 3 is like the sound of ayn in transliteration. Okay, والكلمة. There are lots of words we've already learned that have this letter in it. Here's one. I'm going to do it up here. Actually, I'm going to do it right here. So this is the bottom of your line. Yeah, I'll do it here. This is the bottom of the line. I'm just doing it because of the edge of the tablet. So there's 2 fathas there. So sound out that word. مع. مع. مع, we've heard in some phrases before, مع by itself, يعني with. مع. Okay, خلاص.